Joined by our third place finisher in today's race, Denny Hamlin, the driver of the number 11 FedEx Ground Toyota. And more importantly, Denny, you held the tiebreaker and you now move on to the round of 8 here in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we needed some things fall our way if we didn't win the race, and today things fell our way. And then the last lap, we went out and earned it. So it's just, I think back all the years that I've been doing this, honestly, in 11 years. And, of course, you always remember about all the bad beats that you have, but you never remember when you rivered somebody. But for me, I really, truly believe this is the first really great fortune that we had in a chase in my 11-year career. So things just happened well for us. We went out there and we did our jobs. It was very tough to be able to run against guys that had a lot of teammates up front. I knew that was going to be a problem for us all day, but we were able to have just enough there at the end to get past the 41 and get in.
All right, we'll open up to questions. We'll start up here with George and then go to Tom.
Denny, over here to your left, George Diaz with the Orlando Sentinel. I know everybody's counting points, but was it at all logistically possible for you to figure out that all you had to do was stay there to get the spot?
I didn't. That's probably why I was a little indecisive off of turn 4 when the 41 was coming to make a move on the high side. I wasn't sure whether I needed to finish third. I told them I didn't want points updates, but that's almost when I probably should have got one to figure out what I was going to do. But the 3's in the middle of the pack, and so he's fighting and getting positions. He could change 2 positions in the last 100 yards, so you can't really predict it. So I knew I just had to try to finish as good as I could, and I just somehow was able to hang on to third right there. I know the 4 definitely cut me a break when I was trying to get back down on the bottom line. So like I say, it was just I knew that if I finished inside the top 5, we had the tiebreaker with the 3. I did know that information, but I didn't know where Austin was in the field.
We'll go to Tom and then upstairs to the press box.
Hey, Denny. Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. 4 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota is advancing to the top 8, the round of 8. You guys have not won any of the 6 chase races, though, but you've got Martinsville, which is one of your
change next
tracks.
week. Yeah.
How do you assess your chances to go all the way?
Pretty good. We all know that Martinsville is where I've made my career for the most part. So I feel very confident we can go there and do great things. And my teammates are all going to be strong there. They were in the spring. So it's new life for us. I mean, we're on house money at this point. Honestly, the cards were stacked against us before we entered the day, and now we're moving on, and we got a clean slate. So I'm looking. My focus will be on Martinsville solely this week, and then after that, we'll go to Texas and try to do that. So it's just week to week for us at this point, but obviously we have to go out here and perform at a high level if we want to make it to Homestead.
We'll go upstairs to the press box and then get Kenny.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. Denny, with the strategy today being that your 3 teammates dropped to the rear and stayed there basically for the whole race, did you feel like you were sort of out on an island today, and did that make it tougher for you to get as far front as you did?
Yeah, and I knew that strategy was going to be in play. I mean, obviously, when you have 3 guys that realistically just don't need to wreck to get in, and you have one that needs to go out there and almost win to get in, you can't sacrifice the 3 guaranteed spots that you got to try to get one more in. That would just be bad gamesmanship, and Coach knows a little better than that. I think he's coached a few things before. So it was on me to go out there and do it. I mean, I had a few friends out there today, a lot of them that probably had manufacturer or team alliances that they broke, and I won't say their names to get them in trouble, but they were very, very loyal to me today, and that paid dividends for us all day for sure. So I just counted on my buddies to help me, and hope that you've earned some respect from some of those guys when they had to make a choice whether they were going to push you or somebody else, and luckily we had the right pushes when we needed them.
Go to Kenny.
Kenny Bruce with NASCAR.com. Denny, what do you think the fans think about when they see guys out there that have won multiple races this year ride around at the back all day like that?
It's just product of the format. I mean, it's really you still got 35 cars out there racing their guts out, and so there was really no big wreck today. So they had more cars racing at the end than what they would on a regular weekend. So I think that they definitely got their money's worth, especially those last 50 laps. Everyone was dicing it up pretty good. So it's just part of this format. Anytime you have an elimination race, what happens in those first two races sets the tone for what the guys are going to do in the third race. And so they built their cushion. They've done their jobs well the first two, and they had the liberty to do that. And so they played it smart, and it's all about championship. It's not about coming out here and winning Talladega for those guys.
We'll go to Holly.
Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. Denny, it's kind of a follow-up to that. Did you know going into the that that's the way it was going to be?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked about it on Tuesday of this week, and we talked about it after qualifying. We all knew that those guys were going to ride in the back no matter what. So I knew, the only situation is if there was a big wreck, they were going to come up there and try to help late in the day, but there never was. They never really got locked in fully. So, it was up to me.
We'll go over to Jenna.
Jennifer AP, so JGR's got 4 of the 8 slots. How do you guys approach that as a team? Because all 4 of you likely want to move on to the next round.
Yeah, we do, but what got us to this point is teamwork, and so it's you got to just keep doing the things the same as you were before. The likelihood. We'd love to have all 4 of our cars racing at Homestead. We're going to have to all race phenomenally to do that. Things happen. Things are going to happen in these next 3 races, but we've done a great job of surviving and advancing. Even though those guys didn't have great first 2 races of this segment, everyone else just stepped on their toes too much, and it gave them an opportunity to be conservative today. So it's just with this format, it's just it really is survive and advance. You really are points racing under this type of format. Anytime you have such a small sample size and you're going to eliminate the bottom 4 in points, it's going to be points racing. So this format is tough from a racer standpoint. That we go out here and we run 26 weeks, and it can come down to just one silly thing that look at the 78. Blown motor took him out. All the great things he did this year, and he's not going to be racing. So it's very tough to really crown the grand champion in just these 2 and 3 and 1 race formats. But it's very, very exciting from a fan standpoint, because look what we had today. 2 cars tie. So you want action. It's these last 10 races. It provides it for sure.
We'll go to Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Denny, this race moves to the second race in the round next year, so it's not a cutoff. Will that help the points racing mentality and riding in the back, or would it be better to make this the first? Or as long as a plate race is in the chase, that's always going to be an option, that may be the smart move?
It will change the dynamic a little bit. Being the second race, it for sure will entice those guys to race all day, I think. But obviously, anytime you go to a super speedway, the likelihood of there being more than 25 cars on the lead lap is very unlikely. So anybody with a buffer of more than that is going to race in the back, always. But being the second race, I think that there's no guarantees. So I think it will change the dynamic for sure. But there's just going to be people that want to run in the back and be safe and conservative. It's just that's the way they want to play the game, and everyone can play it how they want. It's just you got to get to the checker flag in time. If you don't, you're going to find yourself out.
We'll go to Stan.
Denny, Stan Kriegman with Outside the Box. Today's race, in comparison to races over the past couple of years, looked intense every single lap that was under the green. Is that the way you see it and felt throughout the entire race?
It was from my standpoint, only because I was just fighting all day to try to keep my car up front. nobody was really content. That last fuel run, there was about 7 or 8 of us on the bottom that was content to ride right there till the end and then make a move. But, it was tough from my seat. But for some other guys, they were able to keep track position all day because they always had a teammate pushing them. We didn't have that, so it was a little bit more adventurous for us, and especially, I had that pit, I was sped on pit road trying to get more on entry, so it was a more eventful day than what I wanted, but I honestly wouldn't have it any other way.
Do you have any final questions for Denny? All right, Denny, well,
Thanks.
congratulations on advancing to the next round.